Odds are you have seen several job posts that are labeled as an HRIS analyst or an HCM analyst, and you want to learn a little bit more about this type of position and whether or not you should apply based on your past experience in the HR space, or maybe you are a tech person and you're curious about HR and you want to be that person that the users go to answer their questions and troubleshoot some of the issues that they may be experiencing in the system. So in this video, I'm going to break down what an HRIS analyst is, why that type of position really exists, and how you can get your foot in the door and what to expect when it comes to this type of position. So let's dive right into it. Let's talk about why that role of an HRIS analyst actually exists. So normally you'll see this role exist in larger organizations, those who have various different departments. They have a formalized HR department, and they also have a formalized IT department. And what has a tendency to happen is they need support. The recruiters are going to need support. Payroll needs support, as well as benefits administration needs support. And they don't like going to IT because IT really doesn't understand HR. And in many cases, HR really doesn't understand IT. So they're looking for that happy medium that has HR experience as well as being tech savvy to really drive it home for the organization and to hit that pain point. And so your day-to-day functions within an HRIS analyst position is you're going to be interacting with the users on a regular basis. The users are always going to be reporting issues. So if you have a large system like Workday, UKG, Kronos, Ceridian, PeopleSoft, there's going to be a lot of tickets being open and a lot of complaints in the system. With every release and every upgrade, someone is going to report some sort of a problem. And they need that HRIS analyst to actually grab those tickets or meet with the users to figure out what exactly is going on. When did this error occur? Your job as the analyst is to recreate or reproduce that error that has occurred in the system just to make it valid. And what you want to do is take that and put it into technical terms where you will be sending it off to either the BAs or the developer team so they can make corrections within the system. Now, this would also highly depend on whether or not the system that you are using is self-hosted or hosted on the cloud. So when a company decides to host a system on premise internally, they will normally have a whole team. Now, the cloud version of a lot of systems, they will have their own developer team that is on the outside. So whenever you have any tickets, any issues, you just enter it directly into their customer service platform and they will handle the ticket. They will do all the troubleshooting and then send it back to you to validate that the issue has been resolved. However, in an on-premise version of a system, all of the testing and validating and fixing of the code occurs in-house. And you would have to have a ticket. In many cases, companies will use Jira or ServiceNow to keep track of all of that movement and all of the fixing that has happened within a ticket. And I don't want to get too techie on this. I don't want to get too far in the weeds with this because I might lose you in some of these points. I just need for you to understand that when it comes to managing issues and errors in the system, you will be the go-to person to make sure that things are followed through to the end so the user actually gets a favorable result, a favorable outcome, and that the issue has been fixed. So moving on to the next thing is that when you are an HRIS analyst, you are going to be responsible for ensuring the releases and the system stays upgraded to make sure that it is up to speed with all the other versions and you're working off of the last version. Because what has a tendency to happen, there's a lot of fixes and patches and all of that happens within a system, but you want to make sure that you're using the most update version for security purposes, for functionality, and a lot of other things is going on. So As an analyst, you want to read over all of the issues that existed in prior versions of the system and make sure that someone or a team, you may need to create a team of people who are actually testing to make sure that whatever's coming down the pipe for this release, that it's going to be ready to go live by that due date. So as it is being released to the users within the organization, you are aware of all of the changes that take place. All right, so collecting and analyzing data is another huge part of the analyst role. You're going to be collecting and pulling from different data sets, from payroll, benefits, compensation, recruiting, and all of the other HR related departments. You want to collect their data. Recruiters will be very heavy on the number of candidates and how many are dropping, how many are experiencing issues, how many are actually hired on full-time, and how long they stay within the organization. So you're going to be collecting data on a regular basis and analyzing that and creating reports. Those reports are sent to your manager as well as the executive suite, so then they can keep an eye on the staff and the turnover rates, as well as, I would say, for example, the benefits department will actually want to know how many employees are actually participating in the benefit program, how much the organization is actually spending in benefits. Are they taking advantage of pet insurance, or how many employees actually have dependents who potentially could be aging out of a policy? There's a lot of things that actually go into the analytics. So you want to make sure that you are not only tech savvy, you're good with math, and you can pull data, and that you're comfortable building out those reports. All right, so another thing that an HRIS analyst would be responsible for is data integrity and compliance. And I'm going to bunch these two together because it is important for an analyst to understand that whatever data goes into that system, it can be reported. The company can be held liable for certain things that go into the system. Even if you wanted to do a Sarbanes-Oxley type of credentialing or certification that your company wants to reach, you want to make sure that everyone who touches that system, who has access to certain parts of the data sets that exist within the system, you want to make sure that they are authorized to do so. And when it comes to data integrity, you want to make sure that everything is consistent across the board within the system, and that there is no garbage that's going into the system that could set your organization up for failure when it comes to generating reports out of the system. Now, on the back end of that security, I'm going to talk about integrations. And what you'll find commonly in a lot of systems is you're not going to be able to get everything out of one system. These systems really don't even exist. There's no unicorn in the tech space. So you'll either have one software that's really, really good with HR stuff, but then they're not really good with payroll stuff or PTO or benefits or anything like that. So from time to time, often more times than not, you're going to need an integration. You need to build an integration to make sure that one system can talk to the other and they can pull data out of one into another. That being said, when it comes to data integrity and it comes to security, you want to make sure that there are certain fields that aren't visible within that integration. You don't want to be pulling social security numbers. You don't want to be pulling addresses. More than likely, it's just first name, last name, and job title when it comes to these integrations working back and forth across each other. So again, this is a part of data integrity, and it's also a part of security when it comes to building integrations. You're going to have to be very tech savvy when you're building these, even though they have their own templates, which I can't really get into this video, but a lot of systems, let's say, for example, Workday, they have a set template. Or even Paylocity, they have set templates. They look very similar to Excel spreadsheets. And it'll tell you what cells and what types of data is acceptable to be able to be integrated into another system. All right, so now that I got all the techie stuff out of the way, how do you get to become an HRIS analyst? And I would say if you're already working for a large organization right now, start getting curious and start interacting in different departments to see what their existing needs are right now as it is. Because more often than not, there's going to be frustration in between HR and IT. And they're going to be looking for someone to come in and take the stress off of them, someone who understands both languages, both sets of lingos, to be able to assist them with a lot of these processes that are probably being swept under the rug and ignored. But if an investigation comes or something negative happens that could cause a negative impact on the organization, they're going to be looking to fill that role immediately because it is such a problem and it's a pain point for a lot of large scale organizations. And I forgot to mention in this video is that I actually used to be an HRIS analyst, so I'm not a person who has just Googled the answer to this. I know firsthand what it takes to actually be a successful HRIS analyst. And in many cases, you will have a manager who isn't well versed in the system. So it's important for you to be very knowledgeable about the system that you will be supporting, whether it's Workday, Ceridian, SAP, Oracle, or whatever. You have to be an expert in it. You may have a lot of sleepless nights, but I promise it will pay off in the long run. Obtain as much knowledge as possible because you will be the one who is training and supporting others throughout the entire organization. Now, I know that you're going to be watching this video and you're going to say, hey, what certification can I run out and get? And then I can get into the HRIS realm. Well, there's really no slam dunk when it comes to certifications in this. There are a lot of organizations out there. There's a lot of companies out there that are peddling certifications, but I'm going to get into that in another video, not into this one. But if you are currently in the job hunt for an HRIS analyst position, or you have been successful in the role, I would like for you to share your feedback in the comments below. And that's it for me in this video. If you like what you've heard, I would like for you to click subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.